The Dalish prisoners escaped safely?
We got them away free and clear.
Good. Whatever my frustrations with them, it feels good to have helped my people again. Thank you for allowing me to help. Chance to infuriate Elganon was a reminder of simpler times.
You and Elganon were really tearing into one another back there.
I needed to goad him to anger in order to distract him. But yes, while all of the Evanuris were monsters in their own ways, Elganon was the worst. Or perhaps it is more honest to say that his were the faults I found most objectionable. You have met him now, heard his voice hammering at the doors of your mind, and you have met me. Can you see how he and I might frustrate one another?
He uses his power to crush any opposition.
Yes. He is far more powerful than I am, and he wields that power like a graceless bludgeon. When I defeat an enemy, it is because I outsmarted them, because I was right. When he does, it is only because he was stronger.
Outsmarting someone and being right aren't exactly the same thing.
Aren't they?
All right, I can see how you and Elganon would hate each other.
He has always been what I most feared becoming. Callous and uncaring, his arrogance unchecked. To have that much power and no one to remind him that he could be wrong.
Well, he had you.
And I suppose I had you.
You said you found the Dalish frustrating. Why is that?
It is unfair to them. I lived for thousands of years, and after I imprisoned the Evanuris, I slept for thousands more. I awoke in a world that had forgotten the ancient times almost entirely. And those who tried to remember Elven history, like the Dalish, had gotten so much wrong.
I suspect them calling Elganon and Gillenane and all the rest gods didn't go over well with you.
Indeed. To see that the history the Dalish worked so hard to preserve was the propaganda of tyrants was vexing. I tried to explain the truth to one clan. When I convinced them that I was truly Fen'Harel, they attacked me. After that, I hid my explanations behind the facade of having witnessed events in the Fade.
And every mage knows that what we see in the Fade might not be literally true.
Yes. The Dalish had no reason to believe me. I could only watch as they continued to worship Elganon, though we may have seen the last of that tradition, at least.
We would have had a hard time getting out of there without your help.
I did not spend this long preparing you only to lose you to Elganon's machinations. No, I am sorry. That was poorly said. You have earned better from me.
Okay.
When we first met, I saw you only as a foolishly confident child who disrupted my plans. You were an irritant. I gave you information to oppose Elganon out of necessity, but I expected you to be nothing more than a tool. Seeing you with your team, I was wrong.
I appreciate you saying that. Couldn't have been easy.
The only thing worse than being wrong is realizing it, but being afraid to change. Elganon's pride is no greater than mine, but he denies any failure on his part, and I at least try to acknowledge my mistakes. Your team trusts you, and you listen to them. It is impressive and enviable. It took me centuries to build such a bond during my rebellion, and when I served the Inquisition, I tried to avoid entanglements.
What about the Inquisitor? Does she not count as a friend?
She does. One of several I grew fond of despite myself when I was with the Inquisition. There was also Cole, a spirit of compassion I helped adapt to our world. He was the only one who knew who I really was. I miss him a great deal. Josephine, the Inquisition's ambassador, was a bastion of kindness and decency in a world that looked down on elves and apostates. Even Cassandra Pendergast of the Order of the Seekers. She was what a believer should be. Faithful, practical, committed to serving, not ruling. I suppose I did bond with the Inquisition after all, as you have with your team.
Thank you for sharing that. So what comes next? What are the gods going to do?
Elganan and Gillenane are preparing the dagger they will use for their ritual to pierce the veil. Elganan's power is tied to light and darkness. He will need to perform a ritual during the next eclipse.
That gives us some time to prepare.
It is likely to be your last chance to do so. You must be ready for whatever comes, for this world and for the team that trusts you. I know that you will do everything in your power not to fail them.
So now Elganan's recovered his own archdemon, and the gods only need an eclipse to complete their dagger.
We saved the Dalish, though. That's important.
But now Elgernon's immortal, so long as his archdemon lives.
And we all know how hard those things are to kill.
We killed Razikale, didn't we?
After losing hundreds of wardens. And it took a centuries-old trap to do it. We don't have either of those. Not anymore.
Just when you think the tide's in your favor, it turns right back.
We've done some great work underwater. You know why no one else can save the world except us? Why the Inquisitor told me it had to be us? Because we don't give up. Knock us down, and we come back swinging.
Nice speech, Rook. But it's hard to complete a contract if you don't know where the target is.
We found the gods before,
Not without help, we didn't.
so we get help again. We've got allies everywhere now.
I can think of a few options, but I'm open to suggestions.
Wardens have run dry. Nothing new is moving in the deep roads.
And the Veil Jumpers couldn't find any trace of Elgranon or his archdemon.
The crows may have something. The Antam are moving large quantities of supplies out of the city. Weapons, armor, gatlock. And several storehouses worth of food, what little we had left. It's enough to feed the Antam Navy for 3 months. Or all of Treviso for 6 weeks.
Given the timing, it seems unlikely to be a coincidence.
Wherever those supplies are headed, that's likely where we'll find the gods. Any more details from the crows, Lucanus?
They said the Antam have long work ahead. We have time. Also, Biago would like a meeting. At your earliest convenience. From him, that means important, but not yet urgent.
We've got options for what we do next. Figuring out where the Antam are taking those supplies should put us on the gods' trail. That said, the Venatori aren't up to anything good in Minrathis.
Not to complicate things, but the Inquisitor also wants to meet Rook.
Right. With everything she's been doing in the south, we owe her an update.
I'll let her know.
Today could have gone better, but it could have gone much worse. We fought off the Venatori and rescued the Dalish. That's a win by any standard. Rest up and be ready to go. Next time the gods appear, let's make sure it's the last.